Could Sydney Sweeney save Bud Light? Welcome aboard, teachers and train stations.
Hi.
All right, so here's the story. Now, nothing's set in stone. This is just a story going around, Jeremy. You know what happened with Bud Light.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what you know of Bud Light.
I don't remember the name of the person, but it was a transgender or transvestite person that endorsed them, and everybody went insane and stopped drinking Bud Light.
Okay, here's the story. It was a guy named, a transgender guy, guy. They had a tab, not a slot. Dylan Mulvaney, who, honestly, if you're going to become trans, at least change your name. At least go for the name change. Like, if you're going to be Jeremy, you might go for Jenny or something. No, Dylan Mulvaney changed his name and kept it to Dylan Mulvaney.
Okay.
So what happened was Bud Light had a promoter who thought, you know what, Bud Light is becoming too frat boy. You know, we really need to expand our image. And they made a custom can for Dylan Mulvaney, who did like 2 or 3 promos for Bud Light. And everybody said, forget this. And now Bud Light sales are down about 15%. It's cost the company billions of dollars. Billions.
I didn't realize they made a custom can.
They made a
I
custom
thought they just
can.
endorsed it. But I didn't
No.
realize that.
And so he did like a little promo thing.
Yeah.
But everybody was like, that's it. I'm done. I ain't turning gay. You drink that Bud Light, you turn gay. Let's go ahead.
I just want to say, and I said this back when it happened, and now I have a platform I can actually say it in. I think Bud Light should have doubled down on that. I really think they should have. I absolutely do. And I know this is humorous, but I mean it. They should have turned around, laughed at themselves, and said, hey, we're not a real beer. Why wouldn't we get him to do it? And everybody would have laughed. They would have thought it was funny. 15 minutes and then moved on, and nobody would have cared. And every redneck guy would have been like, yep, they're damn right. You know? And they didn't do it.
Yeah, they had to go one of two ways. They either needed to say right off the bat, we messed up. We're firing her. We're sorry. We were so wrong to do this. They had to go that route. Or they had to make people laugh. They had to turn it into some kind of humor, because people will forgive things if it becomes humorous. Yep. They did neither. They basically doubled down and said, nope, we're not at fault. You guys are just phobic. And you can't go against your audience. You can't go against your paying consumer.
No, it comes back to that Overton window thing. They drug that window way too far, and they either get people to laugh and kind of drag it back a little bit, or you let it die where it's at, you know?
If they would have been able to get Dylan Mulvaney in a commercial to dress as a guy and say, just kidding, and just had him at maybe, I don't know, like a biker bar commercial and being very manly instead of doing this
I don't even think they'd have to go that. They should have just, instead of being so public about how horrible everybody is, just let it roll. Just don't say another thing. Let it go. Let everybody poke fun at it. Let everybody have fun. You know, I mean, we've lost the ability as a society to laugh at ourselves.
I agree. But here's the new story. Nothing's set in stone. People are talking about it. That Bud Light, they're losing so much money. They used to be the best-selling beer in the entire country. Now that's dropped to, I think they're down to 2nd or 3rd or something. And now it's Modelo. But there's talk of having Sydney Sweeney, who, by the way, I want to make it very clear, is not a Nazi. She's not a Nazi. All the people who thought that she was a Nazi, because Sydney Sweeney, SS. No, that was a joke, people.
And I know we had not, I mean, I do not think that our 20-some subscribers ever influenced anything in the world, but I thought it was great that we did it. We put it out there. We were just poking fun and having fun. And then Babylon B did it. And then...
a day or two later.
And then Mike Rowe did it. And it was a whole bunch of people that did it. I was like, hey, we got ahead of a wave for once. Who knew?
We had something like 900 people see that video. Yeah. It's our #1 video. And we got so much grief. We even had to put out a video
not even apologizing, just kind of like, hey, we know you maybe should have watched more than the 30 seconds before you started commenting.
Oh, absolutely. And some people watched it all the way through and said, oh, if, I listened to that extra 30 seconds and I realized, you guys are being so sarcastic on the left. Yeah. But what we didn't realize is the left is so far gone that even the most ridiculous stuff, people believe as coming from the left. And the funny thing is, some of the things we said actually came from the left. So, there we go. But here's the deal. People are saying that Bud Light should hire Sydney Sweeney, pay her $10 million to be the spokeswoman for Bud Light.
Is Sydney Sweeney saying this?
That's a good question.
Because, let's face it. Why pay somebody $10 million for that? Unless, I'll pitch it myself. Hey, you should pay me $10 million.
I'd take $10. Hey, by the way, we are needing a sponsor.
That's true. Bud Light, if you want to sponsor us. I hate beer, but, I'll stomach it for $10 million.
And neither one of us are trans.
You are wearing a pink shirt.
Actually, I am right now.
But to be fair, I wear pink and powder electric, whatever kind of blue it is for my mountain bike team. So.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's not pink? The like and subscribe button. Reach on down. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Yes, please hit the like and subscribe button. And that notification bell. It really helps. And comment. Tell us that we're doing a shitty job. Sorry, bad job.
Yeah, now I gotta bleep that. Thanks a lot.
Tell us we're doing a good job. Tell us whatever you want. Tell me about your grocery list. Whatever.
Now, going back to Sydney Sweeney, do you think that can save Bud Light?
No.
And you don't think it could?
No.
Why not?
I think people have decided. People are funny that way. Beers are kind of like sodas. You either like one or you don't like one. Once you don't like it, you never have it again, kind of thing. And so I really do feel that, no, Bud Light's lost that share. If they're smart, they'll try and move up another product. It's not their only one. And see if they can get something going with something else. But Bud Light, it's got knocked off and it's not going to come back.
See, I totally disagree. I sort of agree, I sort of disagree. Here's what I'm thinking. They need to really make Bud Light look like a man's beer. Even though it tastes like garbage. It's not a great... I'm sorry, Bud Light, we do want a sponsorship. It is the greatest beer I have ever tasted. I will drink it every day, and I don't even drink. But here's what I'm thinking. You need to give it a real manly image again. And the only way you can give something a really manly image, bring in hot babes. Now I'm going to bring something up. Start with Sydney Sweeney. First off, don't pay her $10 million. Pay her $20. Because that alone is going to give you advertising. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to pay off right away. But here's what I think they need to bring back. I'm going to go way back. Spuds MacKenzie.
Yeah.
And the Swedish bikini team. You bring that.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
You bring that back. You're going to have all these feminists go absolutely crazy. Like, that's toxic masculinity. And all the beer drinkers are going to say, wait a second. Yes, I'm drinking Bud Light again because I support the Swedish bikini team.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that. You're right. And I have two things to add to that. Now, to be fair, I don't drink beer. I don't really love beer. I don't remember where I read this. It was in a book. I can't remember where, but it was kind of an interview thing. One of the might have been Mary Roach. She might have wrote a book about. Anyway, she was interviewing somebody about beers and like the I don't know, beeristas, whatever you'd call them, people who know all about beers, and like
beer meisters. Are they called beer meisters?
I don't know.
A barista is coffee, a Starbucks coffee guy.
So this is the person who knows all about beer. And anyway, they had said, she'd asked, what kind of beer do you reach for an average beer? And the lady who was this person says, a Bud Light. Really? And I said, yeah, if it's a hot day, you're doing yard work, you're doing all these things, you're just doing regular everyday things, It's a light, refreshing beer, and you can have it while you're doing these other items. And this was years ago. This was probably 10, 15 years ago. And it always stuck with me because I don't drink beer, but I always equated it to, okay, if I was going to get beer for friends or something like that, and it's going to be one of those, like, you're going to help me move or work on a car, I need to get a Bud Light because those are apparently good beers for just average, everyday stuff. And so it's interesting now that that's Bud Light, and we're trying to make it the common man's beer again because the common man walked away from it. And so it's like, I don't know, I just find it interesting that they walked away from the beer that apparently the experts all say is the best beer for your common day's work.
By the way, it's not called a barista, as we said.
No, I know,
it's not called a beermeister.
It's not called a beerista either?
No, it's called a cicerone.
Okay.
A cicerone, that's the official term for a certificated beer expert.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so there we go. We've learned something new today.
The second thing, I think you're wrong with the whole Sydney Sweeney and the Spuds MacKenzie and the Swedish bikini team. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing Spuds MacKenzie be brought back from the dead. I wouldn't mind seeing the Swedish bikini team again. But I think Old Spice had this kind of problem. They were considered the dads.
Yes.
And they doubled down with those comedy commercials that just were kind of just too stupid to not pay attention. They were the Happy Gilmore of the commercial world. And I think Bud Light could get away with doing a whole ad campaign kind of like that. Just be too stupid. Just, stupid stunts, stupid lawnmower accidents, just whatever, all kinds of just that.
Well, Bud and Bud Light might have been just Budweiser. They used to have the greatest ads. Like they used to have these singing frogs that would do ribbits. They would do all sorts of things. It wasn't just all the Clydesdale stuff. Mm-hmm. They had some great ads. And one of the greatest ads, this is going back a ways, Bud Bowl.
I think they still do the Bud Bowl, don't they?
I don't think they do the Bud Bowl.
I don't know. This is very un-American of me, but I've only ever watched one Super Bowl. That's it. Only ever watched one Super Bowl.
You and I this year are getting together and watching the Super Bowl. We are going to do that.
Why are you going to do me like that? Why are you going to torture me? The only time I ever watched, and if my son ever listens to this podcast, he'll remember, the only time I ever watched a Super Bowl was my son was in the ICU, and we sat and watched the Super Bowl because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, I would watch the Super Bowl. Here's the funny thing. Usually the Super Bowl isn't that exciting. People watch for the commercials.
I just Google the commercials afterwards.
People watch for the commercials and the halftime show. And here's the funny thing. 9 times out of 10, that halftime show is terrible. Hold on, my phone's ringing. Hello? Anheuser-Busch? Yeah, we're Bud Light? Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, you know what we need you to do? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Bud Light's on the phone. They said they would actually hire us to be spokespeople on one condition. You reach down there and
hit that like and subscribe button?
Absolutely.
Wow.
In fact, they are going to hit the like and subscribe button right now. We'd love it if you would too. Be the next person on the train. Be our next rider. What?
What are we doing now?
Oh, we could continue.
Are we ending or are we
No,
going?
we could talk about that. No, we don't have to do it at the end. All right, so the end, when it comes down to it, give me the strategy. How does Bud Light recover from this? Or you think they're just done?
I just don't think. I think they'll come back in small increments. I think it's kind of like the housing market or the stock market. Eventually people will forget, they'll try, it'll come back a little at a time. But if you want it to all come back right now, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. The people that stopped drinking it have moved on to something else and they have a new favorite. There's nothing you can do about that. It's like I've decided red isn't my favorite color anymore.
See, and I'm going to go the other route. I think with a concerted effort, Bud Light could, it's going to take at least 5 to 10 years, come back and be the number one beer. And I really think you can have a cross-platform ad with Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney has great jeans and great jugs of Bud Light beer.
Oh.
And with that,
we'll see you at the next stop. Welcome aboard.
Don't do that. Okay, there goes an outro.
Just found the outro.